Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. 3.5 patch. Wowie. I'm sitting out here in my back garden with a Stone Tangerine Express IPA, which is a pale ale, and we're going to go through the changes. Now, I haven't really looked at them, so this is going to be an on-the-fly thing. I have looked at Ryu's, obviously. Sorry for any of the noise quality. I'm sitting outside because my kids are sleeping and I didn't really have much else to do, so I thought this would be a cool thing. But yeah, good tourney today, and let's get going on the changes. Now, I guess the first thing I want to say about the changes is I don't like this continual patching at this level. I mean, like, for example, if we take a look at Abigail, he has on the change list, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 20, about 24 changes with subcategories. Now, to me, it begs the question, if they think they're skilled enough, if the people that are designing the game are skilled enough to make 24 changes to a character, you either fucked up royally the first time, or you really don't know what you're doing. And I think I side with the second one. For me, if I was doing a 3.5 patch, you know what I would have done? Say Ryu and Abigail. I would have done reduce Abigail's health to 1,000, damage decrease maybe 20 on each move, and cut his V timer down, something like that. Three or four, maybe even 5 big changes. Ryu increased damage on DP, one frame recovery on fireball, make his V trigger last 30% longer. Done and dusted. That's it. That's all you need. This continual tinkering with boxes, collision boxes, frames here, damage here. Honestly, it's fucking tiring. It is tiring. Even if your character's getting souped up, you got to learn everything again. I mean, sure, Abigail and Rashid should have got nerfed, but I'm thinking it's just kind of like Season 1 Ryu all over the again. You've got to go through this continual change, and it makes you think, what's the point? These aren't balanced patches. These are just, I don't even know what you would call them. But anyway, rant over. Video starts at 3:08 for the folk that, that just want to dive straight in. So let's look at Ryu's changes. Okay, Ryu. I'm also going to go through more characters, particularly Sakura, who I've been playing in the last 3 weeks. I really like Sakura, and she has got better. But let's start with Ryu, okay? So, shoulder throw, damage increase from 120. So both the throws got damage. I think this is a good change across the board. I've always thought the throws should do more damage. No OK off the throw. Why would you press tech, etc. arguments. Throws need to do good damage. I think that is a good change. Whoever came up with that one, there's obviously somebody somewhere in Capcom's coffee room listening to some of us. Standing Light Punch reduced the upward hitbox. They're clearly still not happy with the anti-air jabs. So what? Doesn't really matter. Never used that stuff anyway. I'm a DP man. Standing Medium Kick removed the forward hurtbox that appeared before the hitbox active frames. That's a decent buff. So what it's saying there is that there's obviously a portion of Ryu's Standing Medium Kick that you can hit before his active frames of his own move become active. So thinking of things like Standing Medium Kick into V-trigger cancel critical art, that's a buff there. Crouching Medium Kick, reads like a weird change to me. Changed so that the collision box will emerge forward when the hitbox becomes active. Now the collision boxes are the yellow boxes that the characters use to kind of bounce off each other. If you remember, Ryu's Tatsu got a collision box change, which meant he couldn't fly over the head of the characters when he did the Tatsu on with the collision box was extended down, so he would hit their collision box. Saying that, just what this means, I do not know. It could be something to do with the blocking proximity, where if you throw out a crouching medium kick, they will go into the block stance further away, which is a kind of tiny buff, but I don't understand what that is and why it even matters at the minute. So we've got something interesting here. The Jodan kick, added float in the final hit if it hits mid-air, could be a possible juggle there off of the Jodan, although he doesn't recover quick enough. So again, unsure what that exactly means. Enforce the combo count restrictions. There's obviously some juggle point restriction going on there. Denjin Reki, this is the big one. Increase the length of the V timer from 800 frames to 1000 frames. Now, as we'll see as we go down the list, the fireballs take up more meter, but this is still a good buff. This is the buff that we've been wanting, and if you've been on my channel, I've been wanting for a long time. The timer needs to last longer. It just does. I don't actually care that you might get the same amount of fireballs out of the V trigger. What I care about is that those fireballs are a threat for longer in the match, which is a big deal, because then you have more control over the flow of the momentum, rather than V-trigger activation, here's my flurry of fireballs, we're done. So very, very good change, I think, for Ryu, possibly one of his best. Next up, the counter move. Changed that the counter judgment will become active from 1 frame, which is very, very good. If you are a V2 man, which you have probably noticed that I do pick it sometimes. I'm not on the hate wagon like some of the guys are. I think it is useful, and now it has become even more useful, particularly because we can now cancel the EX donkey kick off of the parry into a DP, probably going to do about 350 damage. Winning can be cancelled from the axe kick and the solar plexus strike. Doesn't really matter for those ones, I wouldn't imagine. But yeah, V2 getting better, V1 getting better. Vs have always been a problem, so that's got to be a win-win there. V Hadouken, increase the timer usage for each V Hadouken from 50 to 100. That's okay, because it's probably going to work out the same amount of fireballs, but just for longer. So not really fussed there. This one, don't know. VEX Hadouken, change the position at which movement is possible after the move. Don't know, because it doesn't say anything about cancelling. That just seems to me an EX fireball in V1, I'm assuming. Do not know there, guys. Change the position at which movement is possible after the move. If it was something about recovery, it would just say that. And if it was something about juggles, it would just say that. So I don't know. Unless that is actually a nerf to the EX Hadouken, but don't know, guys, on that one. Heavy Shoryuken, damage increased by 10 for the first active frame only, which is fine. So that means we're getting more damage in our combos. First active frame usually going to be done in the combo. I'd rather have seen that for the AA also, but yeah, you can't get everything. Hit stop increase for the first active frame only. Doesn't really matter, nothing there. This one is interesting. EX Shoryuken expanded the forward hitbox. Possible buff here. I don't know if you've noticed that only HP DP will connect in some combos. I'm assuming now EX Shoryuken will also connect in those same combos. I'm thinking that is a decent-ish buff, because if you can get the double hit out of the EX Shoryuken, it's obviously a lot more damage. Change the opponent's behaviour on the first hit, possibly an animation change. We've had that weird shit before, and right below it says this has no effect on the battle balance, so yeah, there's probably an animation change. V Shoryuken, V EX Shoryuken. This is a weird one. So our Shoryukens are going to take the V gauge from us when we're in V1. Now that's a bit crap. I think that's actually a nerf there, because if you're using the V fireballs to zone and your Shoryuken is taking the V gauge, it kind of negates the whole fucking point of making the V timer longer in the first place. But it wouldn't be the first time they've given us 2 eggs and taken 3 away. So it says it uses 150 of a gauge. Yeah, a bit confused there, guys. Anybody want to chime in on the math there? Because to me, that's actually a nerf. Jodan kick. This is big, guys. This is big. Now, what I bitched about in my last video about not being able to use the Jodan kick effectively seems possibly to have been sorted. I'm saying possibly because this is Capcom. Reduce the opponent's knockback distance, which sounds like possible Oki buff. So what that means is when you hit them, I guess it will not throw them as far. Could open up an Oki situation. Oki being mix-ups for those that don't know the term. Increase the forward travel distance. Big. This is a big one. So again, if you see me bitching about the Jodan, if we can buffer that now in the footsies and it will confirm consistently, this makes a big difference to how good that move actually elevates that move from a bit of a shit combo extender to a viable tool. Ease the combo count, which means it probably got more juggles. So they sum up in the developer notes, made it easier to use Jodan and combos, which I've just went over, adjusted the duration and meter of the Denjin Renki, and so basically V buffs and some quality of life changes. Do not think that it's gonna propel Ryu into the higher top tier, but it might just make him viable. I don't think so. My gut feeling is no after playing the new patch. These little changes, but I don't know. We're getting better. We're getting better, guys. So if we keep getting better and better, then it can only be a good thing. Overall, happy, I think, with the changes. Only thing I would have liked to have seen is maybe the crouching medium kick getting a little bit more range, but you can't have all. Now, Sakura mains. If you're a Sakura main, it is party time. I have become a Sakura player in the last kind of 3 weeks. I have really enjoyed her. She fills a lot of Ryu's voids. Bad V-trigger, bad conversion from the mid-range. She fixes a lot of those holes. She has problems herself, which now seem to have been fixed, I think, and I would say that she now is a viable character. First off, we got a nerf. She had corner throw loops where you could just walk up and throw people continually. Those are gone. That sucks, but I think in light of her other changes, it's probably sensible, and nobody else has the corner throws. Damage increase on the throws, again, good change. The Hurakazi, this is very interesting. It says this is her V skill, can be cancelled into from cancelable normal moves. Now, if that means you can cancel the V skill out of a back heavy punch, say, then that means you can do crouch counter, back heavy punch into V skill, juggle, possibly air throw, which would be fucking pretty cool. But yeah, that seems like it's possibly good on the kind of gimmicky side of things. Yeah, if you can cancel from normal moves into the V skill, That's pretty interesting. There could be some interesting juggles and side switches there possible. Standing light punch nerfed again. That's because of the anti-airs. Now this is a nerf, which is unfortunate, and I really hope it's not too bad. But so the standing light kick, if you know and play Sakura right now, is probably her single best button and one of the best buttons in the game. But it's had its active frames reduced to 3, which is still good. 3 is still good for active frames. I don't know what adjusted the motion means, but due to the change above, hitboxes were adjusted accordingly. Probably means it's had a range nerf. Now, I hope it does not affect her combos. I think it's probably just so you can't buffer the standing light kick into DPs at the mid-range and hit people from ridiculous distances like you can do now. But I would be really pissed off if you couldn't do the jab standing light kick DP combo, because that's kind of her signature thing. Alright, on to crouching medium punch. Advantage on hit increased from +2 to +5. Bing 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 bing, all the way to the bank, boys. That's massive. +5 on hit, a 3-frame advantage. You're probably going to be able to link, I think, back fierce on a counter hit now. Lots of potential there. Pushback slightly decreased. Pushback on block slightly decreased. That's massive. That's increasing her pressure on block and hit, and that button was already really good. Possible contender for single best buff for Sakura. Upper, there's some changes there that don't really look like they matter. What's this one? Sakura Otoshi. Yeah, they're just a distribution change, doesn't really matter. Floral spin, seems like they're nerfing everyone's V reversals, which is really strange. Don't understand that one across the board. What else have we got? Heavy Tatsu damage increased from 80 to 100, which is good. Could possibly make it a more viable combo. Reduced to start from 25 to 24. I was hoping for a bit more there. 24 is still shit. 25 was awful. I think that move starts up too slow, but since it's got fireball invincibility, maybe it would have become too annoying if you're just throwing that out at 20 frames or whatever. Increased the damage on Hadouken, buff. EX Hadouken damage increased, buff. Startup decreased, buff. Overall frames reduced, buff. Can now be cancelled into V trigger, buff. So all EX Hadouken into V trigger, very good. Considering I think at the minute it's +2, don't quote me on that. V Hadouken, I'm assuming this is the V trigger ones, have got a lot better. They went from advantage on block from +3 to +10, which is quite big. That's the charged one, mind you, but that is going to give you some serious shimmy potential. Air Hadoukens getting buffed. Lots of good changes. The only other one to note there is EX Shoryuken reduce the opponent's blowback distance on hit. Possibly sets up more meaties for Sakura if she hits EX Shoryuken. Because if they fall closer to you, that means they're not back rolling further away. So that could be an okay change. Sakura Rain, I don't understand what that's talking about. Some phenomenon where they couldn't do a V reversal. Won't affect the balance really. Overall, Sakura looking quite solid at an absolute minimum. Buttons buffed, damaged buffed, combos buffed, block pushback buffed. I like it. If you're a Sakura player, I think you'd be quite happy at the minute. Birdie appears to have nerfs. Stun on the forward throw, 200 to 150 is quite a big deal. 50 stun off is the difference between a dizzy on a low life character and a non-dizzy. The crouching medium punch active frames reduced and the recovery increased slightly. This is a kind of interesting one. They increased the disadvantage on block from the sweep from -11 to -14. Now he's probably still going to be safe, but 14 frame startup means there's probably going to be characters that can punish him now with other special moves that they couldn't before. I think that might be an okay change. Don't kill me, birdie players, but your crouching heavy kick was good in the context of the game, but I think everybody should have a safe sweep at max range, but that's another argument for another day. Kami, as seems to be par for the course, doesn't get touched, and if anything might actually be better. Gets her stun increased, gets her damage slightly increased on the throws. The throw game, yeah, for Kami is quite big because she's got that fast walk speed, so she can walk up and throw you a couple of times in a row quite easily. Crouching light kick increased the push back on hit. Don't think that really makes much of a difference, although I'm not a Kami player. Light cannon spike, which is our anti-air, is got invincible frames added by the looks of it, so that's a buff to her anti-air, which is big considering she's hard to deal with on the ground. Can cancel into V cannon strike on hit with V cannon spike. That looks like a buff to me. That's a combo extender. Yes. Overall, Kami probably still top tier. Alright guys, we'll go over some more changes. I'm just going to go over some spot changes now that I think are quite big. Let's start with the big one, the big man, the one that's been pissing everyone off, Abigail. Abby. I think he's been completely shafted here. Far too many changes for my liking. Yes, he was annoying as fuck, but I think he brought a lot of hype to the game. I'd like to have seen him stay annoying but manageable. I didn't like the massive damage swings for little risk. I mean, I'm not stupid. You know me, I'm quite a fair person when it comes to the balance, but I think this is a bit much. He's got his little damage nerf, fair enough. He got his stun increased, which is actually quite a good buff. You're basically never going to be able to stun Abigail at 1075. That's like 3.5 combos. He's got his hurt boxes changed. He has the big one for Abigail here is the crouching light kick can only be cancelled into one V trigger. Now what that says to me is they've taken away his cancelable crouching light kick, which is a big part of his pressure at the minute, cancelling into them daft EX punches. That's a bullet to the brain, I think, for the Abby players. Crouching light punch startup increased, that's a nerf, that's a very annoying button. Recovery increased, that's a nerf. Reduced the downward hitbox, nerf. Standing light kick increased from 5 to 6, nerf. He's got damage nerf across the board really. Yeah, they've done it. They've done a number on him. EX giant flip damage from 120 to 80, 40 off damage is quite a lot, and 50 stun. You're not going to get any of them crazy ass what the fuck, he just killed me from that situations. You will probably still survive now, which will give you another chance to get back into the game. He did get some buffs. It looks like Metro Crash here. Now let me read this. So on block, opponent takes actual damage instead of recoverable damage. So that's a buff there. Damage increased on the non-charge version, so the combo extenders got increased. Max charge to 250, the buff, so that the Metro Crash is getting buffed. So looking at the two V's now, and in light of his other changes, it could be that Abby's opt for the Metro Crash instead of the Abigail Punch, because he got his stun decreased there, and there's some combo count restrictions which I think is going to take away those massive 600-700 damage combos. So EX Abigail Punch, stun reduced, increased the knockdown time for the first hit. So yeah, I think they've possibly went too far on Abigail. If you hated Abigail, you have absolutely won the lotto on this balance patch. Again, quickly on Akuma, just browsed it, guys. Only thing I can see there, doesn't look too bad for Akuma, although recovery increased from 16 frames to 18 frames on standing medium kick is a possible slight nerf in the whiff punishment game, because he does rely on the standing medium kick as his conversion tool, and his crouching heavy punch, which is his spammable mid-range button, which is too good at the minute. I personally think recovery's increased from 16 to 20. 20 puts it in the possible whiff punishment category, which it's not getting now. No changes to the advantage or disadvantage. What else have we got? I think they fixed his EX Shoryuken where it did some weird stuff. Overall, Akuma looks like he has been tweaked how I would want a top tier character to be tweaked. He's just had some little changes, and in fact maybe not quite enough. I might have changed some of his EX moves, but yeah, fair enough. Okay guys, Rashid, I think Capcom must have watched my video where I called him a CUNT. He has been destroyed. This drops him significantly, I think. I've just looked at these changes now briefly, but I'll try and decipher them as we go. So he said his stun decreased to 950, that's a nerf. The forward throw, he's added 2 frames of recovery after the throw, which means he's probably, I don't know if Rashid had loops before, I don't think he did, but either way, that's a nerf. His backwards throw has its stun decreased, whereas everyone else has got buffed. These are the big ones here by the looks of it, guys. Advantage on hit decreased from +4 to +2 on the standing light kick, and on block from +2 to +1. If you know about pressure strings, you'll know that the difference between +1 and +2 is very big in Street Fighter V. +1, you're going to lose 2 return buttons if you get jabbed, basically jab mashers, and standing light kick is his kind of go-to button. I think a lot of the times it seems to be on wake up. Standing heavy punch, block from 0 to -3, so he is getting guaranteed pressure if you block a standing heavy punch. Stand medium kick, there's that +2 to +1. On block it's -4, which might mean it's even punishable by some characters. Where are we? Crouching heavy punch reduced the recovery for the first hit on block by 3 frames. Reduced the recovery on the first hit on block. But doesn't the second hit anyway? If it's the first hit? Don't know what that one's about. What else we got? Wall jump increased the interval, so his wall jump's not as good. That might take away some mix-ups in the corner. Don't quote me on it. What else have we got? The EX Eagle Spike damage decreased. Airborne Eagle Spike damage decreased. EX decreased from +1 to -2. Whirlwind shot 80 to 60. Yeah, I think a Rashid main will be able to tell you, but my gut feeling here is, especially those plus twos to ones, and the plus or the zeros to minuses, or the plus to minuses, that's all going to affect his pressure. You're not going to get caught in those Rashid infinite loops of pressure now. You're going to be able to get out of that with return buttons, which I think is a fair enough. Rashid was a bit too good. This is too much, but hey, it happened to us. Now, this is interesting. Minat, who I think is already pretty good, seems to have been buffed again. This could pose some significant problems, because Minat, I think, is a very hard match for Ryu, and in general just a bit of a shitbag. So let's have a quick read of these and I will try and decipher Minat. What have we got? So, expanded the downward hitbox of the crystal ball for standing light punch. That seems to be a buff, so that means it's going to hit further down. Standing heavy kick reduced the backwards hitbox. That's his possible nerf to an anti-air, maybe. Yeah, I think that's her anti-air button, so it's saying it will not hit them behind, so I think that button could hit them on a cross-up. What else have we got? Soul Reflect, meter gain increased. That's big. If she's getting more meter, it means she's got super, and she is very dangerous with super. I do not know what Wisdom of Thoth or Prophecy of Thoth is. I do know that Thoth is the Ibis. That's about it, boys. Soul Reflect. V meter gauge increased again. That's a buff. What have we got here? Soul Reflect, meter increased again. So this is bad for Ryu. She's making a lot of meter if we're throwing fireballs, and it's, well, we've only really got fireball in the matchup. A little bit of a changed invincibility timing from 6 frames to 5 frames on EX Guardian of the Sun. Now, is that the one where she jumps up in the air and grabs you? I think it is. But if they've changed the invincibility timing from 6 to 5, that's a slight nerf, I think. Don't know. Menat players, speak up. Soulspat changed the command. I've heard there's some overlapping commands for Menat. So this is good if you are not an execution expert, and I think that's a good change. You don't want to be doing moves and getting other shit. That's just bollocks. So overall, they said rebalanced the properties and buffed Soul Reflect. Kamal and Soul Reflect also changed the commands of certain moves to unavoid unintended inputs. Yes, so overall, seems Menat's been slightly buffed, when other characters have been either slightly nerfed or weren't that good in the first place. So early predictions is Minat is probably going to be one of the best characters in the game. Had a quick squiz at Guile here. I think Guile will be okay. Nothing really too damaging there. His throw getting buffed is a very good buff for Guile, I think, because Guile runs the throw button game quite well, because you always want to take the throw from Guile. Sonic Boom pushback on block slightly decreased. They've written that up at the bottom as a nerf, but that could actually be a buff. If the pushback on block is slightly decreased, man, he could have that could mean some scary ass kind of pressure at the mid screen or even in the corner. So I wouldn't panic about that one just yet if you're a Guile player. Knife Edge cannot be activated by V-Trigger cancel from regular Sonic Boom. I think that is a good change. That's probably a bit too powerful, I think, considering that V-Trigger. Somersault kicks looks like they send you further away, which is going to help his zoning. Really nothing else there for Guile, but overall I'd say Guile is probably still going to be one of the best, if not the best characters in the game, apart from Akuma, obviously. Okay guys, I've looked at some more of the changes. Nothing really there for me that is worth talking about personally. Obviously if you're a player of the other characters, you'll be mighty interested in the changes, but I think I've picked out the ones where I browsed and I thought, that's interesting. And Blanca looks like he had some interesting changes too, just as a look there, and also maybe Ed. But I think we've dragged this one on long enough. Overall, not a fan of these big balance changes. I would like in the future going forward smaller, better changes rather than lots of little changes, but it's just the way it is. Pretty excited though. I think I am definitely more pumped for this one than any of the others. So good luck guys, and we will be playing this bad boy in a few days.